And the next game for Liverpool is against Chelsea on Sunday at Stamford Bridge. And Liverpool beat them 2-1 at Anfield in a reverse fixture. And I think that Chelsea are quite a good contrast to Liverpool because under Todd Bowley, they spent significantly in excess of £1 billion, close to £1.5 billion. And they've done that for very little success. Whereas if you look at Liverpool, they've just won Premier League and they look like they're on a much better footing to potentially compete for more trophies. And if you think about it, also the drama that surrounded Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia, that hasn't really affected Liverpool. And like I said, Chelsea are just such a good contrast to where Liverpool are right now, aren't they?
Yeah, I must admit, is this unprofessional to say? I'm fairly invested in Chelsea missing out on the Champions League. I'll be honest. I just think the way they operate, particularly in contrast to Liverpool, is pretty risible, really. You look at the way Liverpool have done things and built intelligently and played within the rules, and then you've got Chelsea kind of selling the women's teams themselves, selling hotels just to get around the rules so that they can spend all this ridiculous sums on footballers who haven't really made them much better at all. It would kind of be nice to see that blow up in someone's face, and that's not a hatred of Chelsea or anything like that. I just think the way they've gone about it is very poor and not something I've kind of enjoyed watching, really. And yeah, it's interesting that Liverpool have done it completely differently, and they're the ones who are Premier League champions, and particularly after he got so much stick for missing out on Lavia, missing out on Caicedo, all these, weren't able to prize Colwill away from Chelsea. And I think Chelsea fans won that little social media war, didn't they? And then in the end, I think Liverpool supporters have kind of had the last laugh. So it's there is a real contrast in the way that these two clubs are run. And I think for Liverpool, it's not going to be their motivation, the squad and the manager, but it's for Liverpool supporters to see, if Liverpool can get 3 points in this game and really land a blow on Chelsea that could hurt them in terms of Champions League qualification. I'm sure everybody would absolutely enjoy that, and they've got a really tough run in, haven't they? So this is just one of them, and if you don't get over the line, I mean, how they kind of square the circle in terms of finances and how they make that work, have they got any other assets they can sell to themselves? I'm not quite sure. So we'll have to see what they do about that. So, Chelsea will be desperate to win this one. And I will say, they were absolutely brilliant at Anfield, actually. I thought they were going to have a much better season than they did in the end, but it seems to have really gone wrong recently for them. So they're in poor form, and as much as they need it, Liverpool are a far better side and they look more convincing. So Liverpool should have every confidence they can go there and get the win. And as I say, if they do that, then Champions League wise, it's not looking great for Chelsea.
Well, I take Wataru Endo over Moises Caicedo any day of the week. Just give him a 10-year contract and keep him at Liverpool forever. But in terms of the team selection for Liverpool, is now the time to potentially make changes? Because I know we've talked about if Trent is going to leave, maybe we bring Bradley into the team so that the other players get used to playing with him. But maybe Liverpool should still go as strong as possible because, like you said as well, 94 points is still up for grabs, and Salah still needs 3 assists for the record. So maybe playing the strongest team possible should still be something on Slot's mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to come back on a point you made there, by the way, about Caicedo and Endo, and I think if you are Dean Howson, for example, and you look at the example of someone like Caicedo, or you look at Lavia and the way these things have kind of played out for them, you must be thinking this summer, that's not going to be a good move for me. I think Caicedo has been decent for Chelsea, but he would have been much better at Liverpool. He would have been a better move for him in terms of winning trophies, but also in terms of his individual development. So I think that is a message to players this summer. If Chelsea come knocking, that maybe you will be better placed to go to a Liverpool because it's a much more stable environment. But enough about that. As you say, the match itself and the rotation, it's going to be interesting. Again, we are in this process still with this manager of learning about him. I don't know how he reacts to a title win. I don't know whether he just kind of makes 11 changes and goes into it like that and wants to give everybody a chance to play. We just don't know enough about him, and I guess we're going to learn over these next 4 weeks. I think, knowing his lack of rotation this season, he probably will go as strong as he possibly can because he seems to love to do that. But it's hard to see. I guess he's going to be more willing to maybe make the subs earlier, regardless of game state, because Liverpool don't need to win. If you can take Dominic Szoboszlai off on the 60th minute, if you can throw Chiesa in for a few minutes just to give him a reward for his attitude around the place, which has been, by all accounts, absolutely brilliant this season, despite his frustrations. Moments. I think it'll make it easy to make decisions like that. But outside of that, I guess the starting 11 is probably going to look as strong as possible, because why not go there and win? Why not try and break 90 points, which would feel like a statement about how good this side is? Why not try and get 94, which again would be an unbelievable tally? So I think he's going to start strong, but then be more willing to make changes and be less tied to the idea that Liverpool desperately have to get over the line. Therefore, Gravenberch has to play the entire 90, for example. I think there's going to be a willingness to change there.